Good evening. This is John KA4RXP in Memphis. I'm going to be doing a presentation tonight.
Yes. Hi, John. My name's Ken Terrell, AC0TG, and my daughter, Jess, she's on as well. She's the secretary for our club.
Okay.
And I wish I could give you an estimate as to how many people they're going to be.
If there's just two, it's just fine. It's fine for me. It's less embarrassment.
Well, I've invited, so I'm the president of the Sabine Valley Amateur Radio Club in Greenville, Texas. And I met Ed down at Hamcation, and we talked a little bit about doing a presentation. So I've invited Rockwall County, their club, the Emory County, the surrounding counties. So it should be 4 ham radio clubs worth of interested parties. So I'm assuming there'll be 20, 25 people here.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah. Every one of us is right in the path of totality, and there was a lot of interest when I mentioned this this briefing. So
yeah, well, I've got a couple of quick questions. This is the first time I've used Zoom, and I have a slide deck, a PPS or PP whatever, PowerPoint. How do I get my PowerPoint onto your screen?
Let's go ahead and try to let you share this. And Jess, I may need to ask you to help do this. Who can share? I'll just say all participants. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing, host only. Okay, so we'll do that. And you said you've never used Zoom before?
No, not to do a presentation like this, no.
Okay, there should be a share screen button somewhere on your bottom of your screen.
Okay, now I've got a green share screen, alternate S. So if I click that, all right, then, all right, here's the hold control to select. I just want to, okay, is that coming up?
Yeah, I see. That's perfect actually. When you go into, I see your PowerPoint. If you go into full screen, I bet you it'll be exactly what you're after.
Okay, let's see now. Where do I? Okay, new share. You're sharing screen sharing.
No. If you go into the slideshow, I'm sorry, on the PowerPoint.
Okay, all right. Now wait a minute. Let me see. Okay, this is the PowerPoint here. And let's see if this does that. Okay, and I need this part here, the notes page, to show what's coming up.
Okay. Do you have dual monitors perhaps?
No, I don't. Let's see.
Can you emailing me that slide deck real quick and I can share it?
Yeah, okay, hang on just one second. I have your email address, but it bounced. And so Ed got a number wrong. But let me find, okay, here's the slide deck that I need to forward to you.
Okay.
So let's see if that's labels. I'm gonna move you out of my corner window here to see. All right, now there's something. I need the attachment. I need markers on right now. Where is the forward as attachment or just forward? Let me try forward. Okay. All right, so now, okay, come on. All right. It's from and it's going to be to. Let me have your email address.
Sure. It's ken.b as in boy .terrell. That's TERRELL.
Ken.b TERRILL.
ELL at the end.
ELL. All right, and that's at gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, now let's see, did that, oh, I gotta click send. All right. It's back up here.
Okay, and before you, okay, I just got, yeah, okay, I got it, I think. Let's see here. It says I need access. I'll request access to it. If you look, there's a Zoom toolbar on your in PowerPoint.
In
About middle of,
PowerPoint,
yeah, right there. You just about pointed at it, just up.
transitions or
No,
draw?
it's below that. It's on the toolbar right there, and I go to the right. You see Zoom. Two
There's
more.
Zoom, yes,
I
okay.
think you can present over Zoom. So hit the slide Zoom.
Okay.
Oh no, never mind. That's not it. It's not that kind of Zoom. I thought it was
Oh, okay.
Zoom meetings.
Let's see, what about view? Zoom fit to window.
No, that's not it. I was just seeing if there was a way you could present to Zoom as a second screen. But
Okay.
we'll do it. I sent uh, what you sent me was a Google Drive link, so I need to get you to
Oh,
grant me access to that
oh Lordy, let me just,
PowerPoint.
wait a minute. Let me take and see where the heck they've daggone it.
This is why we
Okay.
start early, right?
Yeah, yeah, supposedly. Okay, so I want PowerPoint and I want to open, oh, phooey. Wait a minute, I got to get to the slide deck. All right, I downloaded it. Let me minimize this and go to mail. And all right, so one attachment. That's, wait a second, I need it where it downloaded. That's what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's move around here. Okay,
And I'm going to stop your screen sharing. So
okay,
that's what just happened there.
all right. Okay, it's in the folder. All right, now let's get a mail. Compose a new mail to ken.b.terrell
Mm-hmm.
at
Gmail.com.
gmail.com, and is slides for the subject, and attachment is, okay. Oh, fiddly diddly. Documents, downloads. Let's see if that's in here. All right, come on now. You told me. Wait a second. All right. So I want the folder it's in. I want that. I want copied. I want that. Control V. Attaching file. Okay. All right. It's thinking here as it's pasting
Okay.
it in. And okay, so now we'll send and share with you, send. Okay, so that should be coming your way pretty quickly.
Okay.
And then I'm going to put the PowerPoint up again. Now there's some kind of a place where I click to get rid of that sidebar. Well, I keep that and you can go ahead and if
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah, that's how we'll do it. You will, I will just say next slide
yeah.
and we will go from
And I'll
there.
drive for you.
Okay. Now the
I'm hoping. I don't have PowerPoint. I actually have LibreOffice. I'm gonna look over it real quick and make sure.
It should be a
I'm just scanning through it real quick, make sure it's not.
Yeah,
it's not horribly broken. It looks okay.
yeah, I forget what there used to be one called Apache something. It was Linux based.
Yeah, it looks like the only thing I'm missing
Is the map.
is the map. Yeah.
Yeah. Let
Let me
me
do
see
this.
how can I? All right, I can copy the map. All right, and then I can minimize, and I can go to mail, and I can compose, and I can go to, let's see if we can do Ken B. dot TERRELL at gmail.com. All right, and then it's going to be map, and it's going to be paste. Control V. Let's see if it's going to work. Good. All right, here it goes.
Okay, I should have a map coming.
Yeah, and then you could just copy and paste it into the second slide.
Okay, yeah, because all it says there is presenter bio.
Right, yeah.
Waiting for it.
Yeah, I'm stealing that thing blatant.
Well, that's what they say is plagiarism is the sincerest form of flattery, right?
Well, I have a I had first place in QRZ.com about the details that I wanted to get out about my activities on the eclipse, and I modified that map by cropping it a bit and taking out some information. And anyway, supposedly according to copyright law, if you crop something and alter it, then it's no longer copyright. I don't know, that may be an urban myth, but
Yeah, I promise I won't report you.
okay.
How's that?
Well, I am quite sure that let's see, I'm quite sure that
Okay.
okay, now I've got a very small screen. Let me see. Oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah, let me see if I can do what I'm thinking I need to do here. Screen number 2, that's that one. Share that screen. You should see my desktop now,
Yeah, there you go.
and now slideshow. How's that?
Wonderful. That's it. Okay,
Awesome. And then second slide is
that one.
quick little hack job of cut and pasting it in.
Right.
All
And
right.
then it's back to the regular deck.
Yeah, Jess, are you online? See if my daughter is there. She is. Can't hear you yet, Jess.
Now, are you able to see me on the screen, or do you need to?
I can see you in a little bubble on the screen.
Okay,
I'm just
over
trying.
where that picture of Jess and Andrew is on the
Yeah,
right.
and I'm just going to admit everybody that's around at the moment. Looks like
Okay.
7 or 8 of us.
All right. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was down outside of Houston, and a
Mm-hmm.
couple of 3 years ago, he took over from the retiring uh, Salvation Army radio net, and things exploded about 3 months later.
Mm-hmm.
But he seemed like he was pretty active down there. I don't know if it was, is there a Southwest Texas club, or y'all part of that, or? Is that,
Southwest Texas is quite a ways away from us.
yeah, okay. Well,
In Texas, we're sort of the northeast quadrant of Texas, from
okay,
Dallas Fort Worth area east is
okay, all right.
where we're at. Like our
Well,
in our ARRL section is North Texas.
well, are y'all all near, are you near Sabine Pass or Sabine Lake?
I don't know of them. I know. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody else may answer that, but
Yeah, I caught my biggest bass in that lake.
oh, well, I'll need to be near that then because I'd love to get.
Oh, that was long, long time ago.
All right. Well, looks like we're getting people trickling in still. Let's give
Okay.
everybody a minute or two to keep coming
Yeah,
in.
well, we can, we're not, you know, beholden to be no longer than later than 15 seconds starting the net. So, in
Yeah.
fact,
Everybody
I,
who is joining, if you can go ahead and mute, just preemptively. Um, Actually, I can mute everybody, I think. Yeah, there we go. And let me make sure I didn't just mute John, which I did. Yeah, John, I muted you accidentally. Well,
all
not
right.
accidentally.
Now,
On
do
purpose.
you hear me now?
There you are. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And
Now,
yeah, let's give everybody a couple more minutes to join up. We have looks like a baker's dozen right now.
okay.
Let's see, about one more minute. There's one more. We'll wait till he gets joined up,
Okay.
and then we'll go ahead and start.
All right. Well, do you
This
want to
some
open the, you
Yeah,
go ahead and
absolutely.
open the meeting and then I'll just follow you.
Okay. Yeah, everybody. My name is Ken Terrell. I am the first term president of the Sabine Valley Amateur Radio Club. Um, an unabashed eclipse nerd. I actually went to Nebraska and saw the eclipse in 2017, and it was just the coolest thing I've ever seen. And when I moved to Texas, I had one requirement for my house was that it was somewhere in the path of totality. And the realtor looked at me like I was a weirdo, but we found a house out here in Greenville, and here I am. The eclipse is coming up in April 8th, and I ran into John, or well, Ed, John's counterpoint, with Hamsai in Orlando, and we started chatting about doing this presentation. And John, I'm going to butcher your last name. Is it Landrigan?
Landrigan, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. John has offered to give us a presentation about what they're doing. And again, my name is Ken, AC0TG. And John, take it away. Let me get your slides going.
Okay. All righty.
First off, can everyone see the slides pop up? Just give me a nod. Okay, awesome. Take it away, John.
Okay. Um, hello, everybody. This is John Landrigan, KA4RXP. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, and April the 8th, I'm going to be on a boat off the coast of Mazatlan, Mexico, and I'm going to watch the eclipse from there, as that's where it starts. And then I'm going to follow it during the remainder of the day as it goes all the way up to the Maritimes. Yeah, go ahead and hold it on that map now. It'll go across the country as the Great North American Eclipse, and at sundown over the Maritimes, it'll be gone. Last October, I was down in Corpus Christi for the partial eclipse, which turned out to be a real disaster as far as trying to do monitoring, because the Hampton Inn that I stayed at in Corpus, I think it was on Padre Island Drive. But anyway, they had a plug that was outdoors but hadn't been used in years, and it didn't work. So I got to just lay on a chaise lounge out by the pool and watch the eclipse that away. This time I'm hoping to start at the time, perhaps maybe 30 or 45 minutes prior to totality on the ship, assuming that we're going to have clear skies. And I will have a 100-watt ICOM 7300 transmitter aboard the ship with a auto-tune vertical, and I'll be on 14265, and I'll be calling CQ for anyone who wants to send a signal report and a grid square. And on board the 7300, I'm going to have one of those SD cards to record everything for the total time of eclipse, except I may step out for lunch or something like that. But in any case, that's my participation or plans for participating in this event. Next slide. I'm part of an organization of citizen scientists. I'm actually a ham radio appliance operator, but HamSci is a group of scientifically oriented amateur radio and physics and astronomy people that are involved in understanding through amateur radio activities the changes that occur primarily with the ionosphere during the course of an eclipse. Dr. Nathan Frizzell at the University of Scranton is the head of HamSci, and we have a pretty large organization that are involved with all aspects of radio ionospheric high frequency propagation. Next slide. Now, there's a tremendous amount of interest. My first exposure to eclipses was 50 years ago when I saw the Bing Crosby movie about a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court, and how the eclipse spared his head from the guillotine. Next slide. The whole aspect of eclipses is one of the oldest phenomena in the entire world, dating back to billions of years ago, and it's gradually developed some type of scientific validity instead of some what would you call it, mythology, that why it happens and how it happens and when it happens. Next slide. The dragon eating the sun was one of the paragons, I guess, of mythology, at least until modern eras. How he ate it and then it returned 2 minutes and 49 seconds later. I don't know how they explained that. Next slide. We have gone beyond the days of executing those who missed the time when the next eclipse was to occur. And with some very well-educated and intelligent people, we now have eclipse predictions that I guess go to near infinity. Next. The annular eclipse that I saw in Corpus Christi last October was just like this picture. I didn't take it, but that's what that's what it looked like. The total eclipse that is coming up April the 8th is going to mirror what I saw up in New Madrid, or was it Madras, Oregon, back in 2017. Next slide. So as you may been able to learn through multiple presentations, the sun blocks the rays of the sun for 2 minutes and 49 seconds at totality, and the path of totality is 72 miles wide. Next slide. So the whole explanation is that penumbra, umbra, and perigee are all scientific calculation essentials to predict an eclipse. Why and how it happens, I don't know, and not really interested. It's too much physics at my age, or too much astronomy, I guess. Next slide. So we will see the path of totality, and the previous eclipse in October and the current upcoming eclipse in April are going to be studied by a huge contingent of amateur scientists who happen to be radio operators or want to be affiliated with the study of high frequency propagation. Next slide. As you know, the ionosphere is absolutely essential for the propagation of radio frequency waves, and it varies night and day by layers. Each of the layers have unique properties. We all know about E-skip, sporadic E-skip for 6 meters. One of the questions on the license exam is the F1 layer and the importance that it has. And next slide. The whole idea is that we have kind of a compressed and measurable change that occurs at sunset and sunrise during the eclipse. And you have a brief night conditions occur, and there will be ionospheric reactions to this change, but with a few differences. Next. The duration is shorter. The area of change on the ionosphere is more localized, and the directions that the eclipse travels are different from the normal daily dawn terminators. Next. So seasons don't seem to have that much effect, but things like solar flares and geomagnetic storms that can interfere with day-to-day observations will pretty much be obviated unless there's actually some type of enhanced solar activity prior to the actual occurrence of the eclipse. And the Ham-Sci Festival of Eclipse Ionospheric Science is what we are trying to do for this one particular slice of eclipse observations. We're interested in what it's doing to the ionosphere and radio frequency propagation through the high frequency bands that basically begin with AM radio and proceed all the way up to 30 megacycles. Next. So the total solar eclipse is going to begin at 1500 UTC, and the ionosphere is going to be at a level of 300 kilometers. Next slide. So there will be, yeah, there we go. There will be three tangents to what we're trying to do on April the 8th. The first is the solar eclipse party. The second and the third I will kind of gloss over because unless you are really into the astronomy idea and the ionosphere changes, the Gladstone Signal Spotting Challenge and the GRAPE Personal Space Weather Station, if you know about them, you don't need me to try to butcher up what they try to do. Next slide. So one of the things that you could do if you are wanting to is to set your amateur radio receiver with a recorder, either using a link to a sound recording program and do what is called a time delay of arrival. Basically, what you do is set your radio receiver to 9.999 megacycles or 14.999 megacycles to get the carrier of WWV. You then start recording an hour prior to the eclipse and allow the recording to go to either the sound card of your radio or an external sound card on your computer, and using something like Audacity as a recording medium, the Audacity software, and record 1 hour prior to and 1 hour after the eclipse occurs. During that period of time, next slide. Let me skip this, and I'm looking for the next one. Go one more, and another one. There is a one more. Phooey. I don't have the. Let's keep on going. One more, please. There we go. Okay, and let's do one more slide. That should have the, do another one, please. Next slide. Yep. Okay, one more, and I'm going to give up on it. It's in there someplace. We'll come to it. Keep on. Can you return back to where we were? Okay, so the time delay of arrival is where you're recording changes that occur to the propagation of WWV on the carrier frequency of 9.999 or 14.999, and there will be a distinct change in ionospheric propagation during the time of approaching totality and regression of totality. And I had the Amateur Radio Club at the Lexington Aircraft Carrier Museum in Corpus Christi. They have a ICOM 7300. We put a sound card in it, and one of the members was kind enough to go out there about 2 hours prior to the start of the annular eclipse in October, turned the radio on. It had an hour to warm up. He had the sound card on record, and the end result was that a software analysis of the recording showed the changes that occur in that brief time of approaching and losing totality. It can also be done recording AM broadcast stations, and again, for those who are into very low frequency, the lower bands that are just way out of my league. Next slide. Now, there's a solar eclipse QSO party, which I'm going to be involved in, along with, I hope, lots of other people. And I'm going to stick to 14,265, just basically because with 100 watts and a mobile auto-tune vertical that is sitting on the, I hope, highest part of the boat that I'm going to be on. I'm not going to have a really strong signal, but it would be kind of interesting just to see who I can hear and who can hear me. My desire is to get a call sign, a grid square, and a signal report, either a loud, clear, good readable, or 5.9 to 5.5, or even below if you've got an area without too much background noise, just to see if we can get down to 5.2 signal reports. You can get as involved with that as you want to. If you want to go into logging contacts and all like that, please help yourself. And then if you feel like it's worthy of submission to somebody else, send it to hamsci.org. They'll have all sorts of instructions on how to submit any of your signal reports. Next slide. So there are rules, but there aren't any rules. If you want to participate, I think there may be a certificate, for the usual self-addressed stamped envelope, but all of the information about the solar eclipse QSO party are available at the hamsci.org website. Next slide. And here's just a sort of a précis of what is going on with that. And you can go to the hamsci.org website and download that, and then print it off and keep it next to your microphone. Next slide. The Gladstone Signal Spotting Challenge is using one of those digital programs called Whisper. And if you're set up for that, again, go to hamsci.org and you will find all sorts of information about that. Next slide. This is the screen that the waterfall that was done, I think, during the October 2023 annular eclipse. Next slide. And again, more links, but they all begin with hamsci.org, and the path to finding out more information is pretty well established and pretty well easy to follow. Next slide. And again, there's the rules, and they can be downloaded also. Next slide. Another thing that is going to be used by a number of hamsci enthusiasts is called the GRAPE, Personal Space Weather Station Receiver. This is a multi-frequency device that monitors WWV, both Hawaii and the Canadian CHU time stations, and records the changes during the course of a 24-hour day. These devices work continuously. The information is downloaded, processed, and analyzed, but will be of particular importance and particular interest on April the 8th. Next slide. Again, what you're doing with the monitoring or the time delay of arrival is using the changes that occur in the RF frequency effect on the ionosphere, and using software to record the changes in the signal, and then to analyze those changes with further software. You can get a pretty accurate idea of just exactly what's happening to the distance between the surface of the Earth and the base of the ionosphere at various times during the day. Next slide. This again is just a representation, but there's just too many lines on this graph, and I'm afraid I can't give you much information about what it means. Next slide. So, why should you participate? Well, you need to do something while you're sitting out there getting suntanned or sunburned. So improving your understanding of high frequency propagation, improving modeling effects of ionospheric changes that can be predicted for the future, and likewise will lead to more accurate propagation forecasts. You could be a small little piece of data in that enormous plethora of scientific data that's coming in, and trying to make it not garbage in, not garbage out, but something that can be used for a very legitimate purpose in amateur radio, and also make it a situation where you're not having to tend to a barbecue and keep up with the glasses and find out who's running for more beer. Next slide. So there's a bunch of preliminary data from the October eclipse. Next slide. The whole idea takes time, and preparation of articles takes all sorts of times. So the data from the October 23 annular eclipse is going to be the subject of many a PhD thesis. Next slide. This was the slide that I was looking at. This is quite similar to what I and the folks at the Corpus Christi Amateur Radio Club using their ICOM 7300 recorded. And the time in the eclipse turned out to be quite similar to the pattern received on this. Now, this all came from a lot of very talented people using very involved software to duplicate, but even more so to interpret. But this is what, if you run a sound card of the eclipse during the course of April the 8th, you potentially could produce this type of result once all the software has gone through and made it understandable to those who can understand it. Next slide. This was another type of change that station KKXA that was a grape station that ran one of those small little receivers, showed the difference between October the 13th and the actual date of the eclipse, October the 14th, and just the disruption, if you will, of the signal changes that occurred as a result of the eclipse. Next slide. This is more showing the massaging of the data and showing the different types of pattern changes that occur at the day prior to the day of the eclipse, and whether you're using something like FT8, FT4, or Whisper, and the things that do occur at the time of an eclipse. Next slide. So, are you interested in participating? I hope you are. I think it'll be quite interesting to participate if you're going to be particularly in the path of totality. But if you're not, it's also most interesting to see if there is any peripheral effect in an area as far north as 67 north or as far south as 67 south, in any effect that the eclipse can have upon propagation. And is there an eclipse effect that extends outside the path of totality and makes an impression on ionospheric propagation? Next slide. So, as you can imagine, there's lots and lots of dissertations and lots of scientific data appearing throughout the amateur radio and professional radio frequency spectrum. And you will see more of it in the periods just after the eclipse occurs. Next slide. And we want to thank NASA, the Amateur Radio Digital Communications Organization, along with all sorts of community volunteers who have contributed to HAMSCI. And we've got all sorts of things where things that you wouldn't think of automatically put themselves into propagation studies. The Reverse Beacon Network, the WhisperNet, and the PSK Reporter are several of those that are widely available to the amateur community. And I am quite certain that there are some very esoteric and very focused academic organizations that will be using their own proprietary software to study this effect also. Next slide. So, if there's any questions, Ken, if you can unmute things, if anybody indicates it, or if
Sure can. Yeah, everybody, if you have a question, I muted everybody, so you'll need to unmute yourself. Any questions, come now, please. I do have a question, John. The grape receiver,
yes.
is it too late to buy and build one of those things? I mean, what, or do you know?
It is a production in process. I think, and again, that's something that you can get more information from the webpage. But there is a group at the university, or Case Western Reserve University, that is constructing the grape, and a fellow by the name of John Gibbons, Gibbons, is in charge of that, and he can be reached through the hamsci.org webpage.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Looks like Al, you may have a question. Go ahead.
Am I getting through now?
There you
Yes.
are.
There we go. Okay. So when you talk about the frequency shift, what's the best frequencies for us to monitor, the ones that will have the largest shift?
It's really difficult to say because basically any continuous frequency is what is necessary. That's why WWV and CHU are particularly chosen. In 2017, I was on a ship in the Welland Sea, which is off the coast of Antarctica, chasing an eclipse using a setup down there. And my ship wound up being in the clouds, and 50 miles away, a National Geographic Explorer ship was in clear skies. But we both were in that path of totality, and the changes that occurred in propagation were definitely measurable, basically because the folks at the Brazilian equivalent of WWV, the Brazilian Radio Time Service, turned their transmitter on an hour prior to the eclipse and kept it on for an hour afterwards. So we had a stable, known location in which to measure distances from, and again, measure the actual effects of propagation. The cloudy skies did not have any influence on my reception. And again, you've got a stable signal if you go 1 kilocycle below the actual transmitting frequency or the dial frequency on the radio. So that's why people choose those stations, because of their consistency. And again, if propagation is like it's been doing in the high 170s or in the 160s, as far as the SFI, you probably can pick up WWV more easily on 10 megacycles than you can on 14, or at least or 15, at least if you want to try to make a long time recording. I don't know what effect it would have on the validity of the data if you were switching between WWV 10 and WWV 15. But it all depends upon propagation and your location and all the other factors that work into it. Does that sort of answer what you were interested in?
Nope. I think Al might have frozen on us.
Oh.
No. Any other questions? Beyond so kind of entry level, I would guess would be just participating in the QSO party. What's sort of the next step? Would that just be turning on Whisper and letting it rip? And
you could do that if you have it set up on maybe a separate receiver and have an antenna.
Okay.
Basically, doesn't have to be tuned, but probably if you want to do QSOs, then I would say maybe put the Whisper on one side of the house and then operate out of the shack with your regular radio. And I don't know, I think the whole idea is that it's kind of a weak signal propagation experiment. So if you've got 100 watts on your transmitter, I would kick in your SPE 1.5 kW amp to make sure that you get through a pileup. I don't know. I do know that W2E is going to be a special event station, and they've already claimed 14,265. But again, with that frequency, I'm figuring from dawn in Mazatlan to sunset in the Maritimes, there'll be a pretty good wide window of signals that I can pick up from 100 watts in a small antenna.
Yeah, Roger that. Little self-serving note, W5E, Whiskey 5 Eclipse, that's going to be the Sabine Valley Club special event for the eclipse as well. So hope to work you. Any other questions from anyone? Yeah, if anybody has a question, just unmute and start asking. Without any other questions, John, thank you so much. This has been I've been waiting on pins and needles for this eclipse to finally happen, and just go
Just
ahead.
remember that even if you're cloudy, you're still going to see the shadows. That was the most amazing thing that happened in 2017, was that we had a really thick cloud layer, and you still had the dull gray amount of sunlight that was present filtering through the clouds, but it made that transition from dull gray to dark gray to maybe for a second black, and then the other side of the eclipse occurred. So it's not a total loss, at least for radio frequency propagation, if you have clouds. And one of the fellows that responded to QRZ.com ran a piece in one of their little news blibs. And one of the comments that I got was, don't go trying to chase the eclipse if the clouds are messing things up. The reality of the situation was that when I was in Madras for that eclipse, there were 4.5 million visitors to the state of Oregon because that was the Sky and Telescope said that's the best place to have viewed it. And we were in Port Hood and drove 72 miles from there to the $25 parking space that we got at the airport, and took 90 minutes to get there on a 2-lane highway. It took us from 11:30 a.m., which was about an hour after the eclipse, till 7:30 p.m. to go that 72 miles back to Port Hood, Oregon. The governor of Oregon decided that there were 4.5 million people there that were not going to be voting for her. So she was not going to displace all sorts of National Guard and other people to take care of the roads and all the traffic jams that occurred. So it's going to happen again, even though places like Uvalde and some of the other places up in your neck of the woods are already planning on how they're going to deal with this really special event for everybody.
Yeah, Hunt County is already they're already geared up, ready for it. I'm sure Rockwall and the other counties nearby are also on red alert. When I was, I lived in Colorado at the time. I went to Nebraska and watched the 2017 eclipse at a place called Carhenge, which is like Stonehenge, but made out of crushed old Cadillacs and cars.
Yeah.
It's really neat place. And I was lucky on the way home, because I was kind of out off the beaten path, going out that direction. My trip home only took about 2 hours longer than normal. But the people in Denver that went straight north into Wyoming tripled the population of Wyoming for a day.
Yeah.
The traffic jam coming back down I-25 between Casper, Wyoming, and Denver was 12 hours long.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. All the cars abandoned that ran out of gas. All the people slamming the car door open and running up or down or behind a tree.
Right. Well, geographically where we're at right now, there's a lake between us and the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that lake drops off into, or the bridge across that lake dumps into Rockwall County. So I'm imagining Rockwall County is all hands on deck. Brandy, it looks like you may have a question.
I'm guessing that the answer to that is get to your destination 2 weeks in advance.
And with a full tank of gas.
Yeah, so that's the critical, a full tank of gas, lots of snacks and stuff. And there were more people in Oregon that were pulling off at any kind of a wide space in the interstate, or well, it's 2-lane highway. They had numerous little pull-offs, and they basically watched it from there rather than try to get further into everything. The only control or only traffic control was there was a village that had an Indian casino and a gas station. And when we drove down, the gas was $3.15 a gallon. When we finally got back up there, they had 2 kids with long crappie poles and flags on the end of them directing traffic. If you wanted to go into the casino, or if you wanted to go to the gas station, which was now $3.75 a gallon, they would lower those flags, stop the traffic, and let you enter or leave. But that was it. That was the total amount of any type of directional control or some type of participation to make it easier for other people. So it's liable to happen in some areas, like you say, that stretch between Dallas and what is it, Lake Hubble or something like that?
Hubbard.
Lake Ray Hubbard.
Yeah, Hubbard. Yeah. That's going to be a place I wouldn't want to be. Coming or going.
All right. Any other questions? Give everybody a second to unmute if you want to. And once again, John, I just can't thank you enough for doing this. I've been coordinating this with the other local clubs and kind of working my tail off trying to make tonight happen. And thank you very much for doing it. Any last call for questions real quick? I don't see anything.
I will say 73s, everybody, and thank you for putting up with it.
Thank you, John. You did great.
All right.
All right. Goodbye. 73, everybody.
Hello, Ken. You still there?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Camera back on.
Yeah, I think you saw on the screen, you must have saw my wife's name.
Yeah, you show up as, I think it's Brandy Miles.
Yeah, that's I'm not sure why, but anyway, I'm Albert Miles. I recently joined with the SVARA.
That name's familiar. Yep.
Yeah, we talked on the phone about my situation being kind of hard to get into a meeting, and so it's nice to put a name to a face.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great to meet you, Albert. Yeah, it shows Brandy Miles. Yeah. Are you going to be able to make it to the club meeting coming up here in tomorrow or no?
Oh, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow night. Yeah. At 7 o'clock at the EOC in Commerce. It's no big deal if you can't, but that's where we'll be. Normally we meet at the hospital, Hunt Regional at 7 o'clock on the third Thursday.
Okay. Well, that would actually, you know, be okay. I think we could probably make that. My wife and I were just talking about it.
Okay.
You know, that that location actually works, just because they have any facility she may need.
Yeah, Roger that. Yeah. There's the Red River Club too, and there should have been a couple of those guys on today. I didn't recognize any any names. But that's the Paris, Lamar County kind of club. I'm not sure what county you actually live in, but they may be a good club.
I'm in the edge of Fannin.
Okay, they may be a good club to join up to, since you're sort of out there in no man's land. If I remember straight, their meetings are Saturday, I think it is this week. I may not be right about that, but if you look up Red River Amateur Radio, you'll run right into their site.
Okay, yeah.
So as long as you find a home, that's the important thing. And if it's SVARA, then welcome aboard. But if it's
Paris is a little far for me.
Okay.
For sure, and I work in Greenville, so.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect.
So,
yeah, that was good. I'm actually quite pleased with that presentation tonight.
A lot of it was over my head, but I was catching up.
Some of it was over my head too, so you'll get there. I see a couple people hanging around. You guys have comments or just wait until the end? I see Scott and
Hey,
James.
Dad.
Hey, sweetheart. This is my daughter, everybody. Jess, W5ACY.
Hi.
Hello.
Any other questions or anything before I end it? I got to go eat something.
No, just thank you a lot for putting it together, Ken. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, James. Which club are you with, by the way?
Yeah,
I'm with
that's FRK.
Oh, okay. I don't see his call there. Yeah.
No,
oh, I see your face there
shows
now.
up
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah. I didn't see your picture there. Yeah, I see you now.
Yeah.
I expected to see your puppy, not not you.
Well, that's the problem. Everybody knows Bailey, and they look at me and go, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right, everybody. Albert, like I said, welcome aboard. Hope to see you tomorrow night. James, Scott, Jess, Andrew. I love you, Jess and Andrew. Everybody else, have a great night. 73.
Love you, Dad.
Have a good one.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Ken.
Love you.
Yeah, no worries.
And we're out.
And we're out.